Welcome everyone once again to the Sleeping with Sonja podcast. And if you hear laughing in the background, you're going to hear a lot of that today. My guest is the brilliant, gorgeous, wonderful, old friend who is a sister to me, Jacqueline Pereda. Jackie, welcome.
Oh my God, girl. I'm going to cry.
I know.
It's okay. Should we just get it over with now?
I know. Should we get the tears out now?
Guys, we started talking about this in like 2014. You're like, I want to start a podcast.
Actually, it's been ages, like a decade.
It's been like a decade that we literally, and you were in New York.
Yes, actually.
At like the Soho Club.
We were at the Soho House.
The Soho House, yes.
Uh-huh.
And we discussed we're going to do our own one day. But this is just so you. I'm so excited to be here.
It's a full circle.
I'm proud of you. And I'm wearing my red glasses for her. I've had these for 4 years, and it's dedicated to her.
I think everyone should have their emotional red glasses that they wear with them daily. And then also your literal red glasses, because either people think you look really smart or they think other things. And either way, it's a win-win situation.
It's fine. Is that it? Yeah.
So before we get into it, I think you deserve your true biography to be read.
Oh, Lord, okay.
So I was prepping for the show, and I know inherently, because I've known you for so many years now. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've known you for, is it like 16 years, 18 years?
We met 2005, fall 2005.
So it's been
Shakespeare class.
So many years now. Mm-hmm. You've been such an instrumental part of my life. And I know you, and I know your accomplishments, but there's something about seeing it all on paper.
Yeah.
There's something about reading it back and saying, oh my God, this person is so much more than this friend to me. She's a force of nature.
Such a force.
So, hold on. I think this calls for, a cat hand moment, a real.
Such a force of nature. Put that in my bio, too.
Okay, I'll add it.
And a force of nature.
So I'll read this formally.
Okay.
Because I think it's worth mentioning. Jacqueline Pereda, force of nature, is a comedy writer with Cuban roots and is passionate about creating stories that comment on the struggle with identity. Jacqueline wrote, directed, produced, and starred in the short film Generation Porque, licensed to Max HBO Latino, that acquired the film after it was an official selection for Series Fest. And by the way, I did drop a porque. I tried very hard to keep it authentic. And it was awarded the Cos Matthews Fund Supporting Filmmakers Association, who are committed to dispelling stereotypes. Mm-hmm. It was also an official selection for the Women in Comedy Festival and the LA Comedy Festival. Jacqueline is an alumna of the UCB Sketch Program and was a semifinalist for the Sundance New Voices Lab in 2017. Her play, A Visitor's Pass on the Virgin Mary, was a finalist for the 2020 Screencraft Play Competition and was awarded the 2019 residency at New York Governor's Island. Oh, I have chills.
Oh my God.
I have literal chills. Most recently, Jacqueline was the story editor on Spotify's first scripted bilingual comedy, La Cabina Telefónica.
Very good.
Thank you. Gracias. I try. For Latam Originals, where she was nominated for a 2023 Webby Award for the Best Scripted Fiction Podcast. Her work has appeared on True TV, Funny or Die, Más Mejor, and Hoo Ha Ha. Hoo Ha Ha?
Hoo Ha Ha.
Hoo Ha Ha.
Elizabeth Banks's comedy website.
On Hoo Ha Ha. She has written and produced over 20 shorts on her YouTube channel and loves writing bios about herself in the third person as any force of nature would.
I couldn't help myself. That is like my byline. Like, loves writing bios in the third person.
So you're kind of a big deal. And having you sit here on the other side of our normal life, right? Where we discuss all of our sort of personal matters. And again, I mean, our conversations alone should have their own script.
Yeah. NSA is going to get us, and it's going to be fine. And it should be a comedy script, but also not safe for work. Not safe for work, our texts, but it's all good.
So tell us now, when you hear this back about yourself, how does it make you feel?
Honestly, it makes me feel, when I hear it again, because I feel like we're so stuck in the day-to-day and like going on to the next thing and setting goals, it just makes me feel really proud and accomplished. And also, it also makes me laugh a little bit because I'm like, oh my God, Like all these times I've doubted myself and I've done all that. And also, there's even like more to the bio. I also went to acting school, but anyway, and I pivoted out of like acting full time and pursuing that because I really wanted to write and produce. And then hearing that, I'm just like, oh wow, I really did it. So
you know, there's something to be said about the fact that, and I think I have this experience as well. You don't necessarily see yourself the way others around you see you.
Oh no.
And I'm sure in the industry where you work and you create, imposter syndrome is something you have to overcome daily.
Yeah, I believe imposter syndrome, but also like the courage to continue. Because in this industry, and I'm sure you see it too. I know you work predominantly medicine, but you're also a writer and podcast, creator. It's usually no, or it's not yet. Like 99% of what you do is no. So you really just have to have like the discipline and love what you're doing, and really feel crazy all the time because no one understands your dream or your story the way you do, and I think that's what I'm most proud of, and that's what success is to me. Like, this is wonderful, these accomplishments and everything, and like working with HBO and Spotify. It's amazing, but what I'm most proud is like carving my own way and battling imposter syndrome. I think imposter syndrome is kind of like, I'm like this 10-year-old comedy nerd that used to like dance, to Selena in my room. Nothing has changed. I'm just like 15 years older now. I'm only 15 years older.
That is a fact.
25.
That is a fact.
Yeah. So I think it's that. And I'm sure you feel the same way. And also you're always kind of like, I feel crazy, but this feels right.
Well, there's something about you and I talk about this all the time because we both happen to be the younger sisters to really, type A, structured women who are very traditional and powerful in their ways.
And grounded.
And you and I are with our head in the sky and in the clouds, and we exist with this healthy dose of delusion. Mm-hmm. And I think it was you who once told me that you're delightfully delusional.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
And I think that everything you've accomplished stems from the fact that you said, I don't care what the odds say.
No.
I know that I have a purpose here.
Yeah. And it's hard because in the day-to-day, I don't think about that, but it's kind of long-term. And when you wake up in the morning, it's like, today's hard or this is difficult, but like, if you're delightfully delusional, like, the odds are stacked for you. And also we have one life and it's like, fuck it. Like, why not? Why not me? Mindy Kaling always says, like, why not me?
That's a huge mindset shift for so many people who sit there and say, there's a million reasons why I shouldn't or why I couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
And I will tell you, I think about the moment that I saw your face on HBO.
Stop.
And I don't care if you cry. You know what? If you're going to cry, I'm going to make you cry. I'm going to make you cry now. I was actually going to tell you friggin' sucked and it was terrible. So I don't know why you're crying.
Can you imagine?
No, she was.
Please tell me if something sucks.
You are brilliant in person, and your sense of humor is instant. And your ability to channel the energy in a room, translated on screen so seamlessly. The fact that you were not just the person in the show, but you created the entire concept.
Yeah.
And you produced it and you directed it and you're not just talking the talk. You're walking the walk in what you do.
Yeah. And thank you, honey, for saying that. You called me, by the way, she called me crying when it aired on HBO. Oh, yeah. And we cried together. And it was during the pandemic, so it was during this really scary time, and it was during lockdown, and then to have like this light. And one of my huge dreams to come true during a time of like such despair in the world, and having your support, it meant everything. But listen, my parents came from Cuba, and I always tell people I immigrated when I was 6.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Catholic school until I was 6. And then we moved to like an middle to upper middle class, like Jewish neighborhood. And I was the only Latina girl.
Yeah.
And then my dad is the funniest person I know. So I went to school with, predominantly like Jewish kids and going to bar mitzvahs on the weekend. And I would come home to like very strict Cuban parents. Like, I had no choice but to do comedy. Sure, you know what I mean?
Sure. Your childhood primed you.
Oh, it's a pressure
to be
cooker.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
To be hilarious.
One day someone said that. They're like, of course you did comedy. Like, you grew up, like
you were
with all like these white kids that, called you J-Lo, and then you went home watching novelas with your grandmother and like speaking Spanish at home.
Right.
And you know my dad. My dad's like the funniest, wittiest person I know. And personally for me, Cubans have such a distinct sense of humor.
Yes.
And we just roast each other constantly, and we're super witty and quick. And I've always had that in me since I was younger, and even in my writing. But it also exists in my family. So it's just kind of the way we speak to each other. So I had no chance. And then I'm the little sister. Award-winning little sister too, guys. That's also in my bio. I always tell people,
award-winning little
sister. I'm an award-winning little sister.
You know what?
My older sister still hasn't even acknowledged that. I tell her, she's like, okay.
No, I mean, and again, your sister is incredible.
Yes.
But a very different personality from you.
Oh, yeah.
So for you to gain praise from the people around you in your life is a huge deal, especially knowing that, you know, you started under these circumstances where it's probably like you couldn't fit into one group or the other entirely.
No. Or also the biggest reason why I transitioned to writing and producing comedy on my own was, I don't know if I told you this before, I was selected for like the ABC Latino showcase. And it was just a dream come true, even to like be at this ABC casting office and auditioning. And they gave me sides. They gave me the script of Quantico, to like 3 pages of Quantico to memorize. And I'm the most prepared person I know and committed person I know. And I didn't really learn my lines a lot. Like I was reading the script and I kept being like, oh my God, women don't talk this way. This is not the... I just didn't like feel like my story type of thing. And writing is really hard to produce, and not knocking the writers of Quantico or anything. I was like, I know I can like write stuff like this. Anyway, I get there. There's like 20 other like Latino actors in the room. They're all auditioning. I'm the last one to go. And I get like a really great rapport with the producer and the casting agent, everyone in the room. And then I get up there and to audition, I bomb so hard to the point that the producer was like, I can't share this tape with anyone. And she's like, your number one rule is to like learn the lines. Yeah. And then, you know, create a character out of it. And I literally had like a walk of shame after around the ABC building. I'm not kidding, for like 30 minutes. And I was like, why would I kind of sabotage
why did I do this
my
to
dream?
Myself?
Yeah, I'm like, this is what I always wanted. I went to school for this. I want to be on TV. I had booked a bunch of things already. Had like, you know, my TV premiere or whatever. And then literally this voice came over me. And I said to myself, or it was God or whatever it was, and it said, like, I promised myself I will only speak the words that I write. And I don't know where that came from. I swear to you. And then that day I made that promise and I started producing my own stuff on YouTube. Then Funny or Die picked up things. And like, because I followed that voice, I started doing like musical parodies of like music videos and stuff, my own sketch comedy, and enrolled in UCB. And finally, like when I did that, that's when doors opened. And then I started taking like script writing classes. And I wrote Generation Porque as like a web series that I had submitted to Sundance, and like I didn't know it was gonna get in. And it was about this girl, Jackie and Amel, like a Middle Eastern and like Cuban American roommate. And they're kind of like dodging their parents' calls and trying to be like independent in the city. And my teacher told me, she's like, this story is about this girl, Jackie, and the relationship with her Cuban parents. She's like, I hope you know that. And I said, no, it's not. It's about this. She's like, no, I know you want it to be about this. She's like, but what makes you special is like your upbringing, like your parents' upbringing and where you grew up. And I really had to lean into that. And I leaned into that. And that's what paid off in the end. Even though I took a lot of risks with it and I could have, kept the acting route, or I don't want to say sell out, but like I could have done a lot of other things and went the more commercial, conventional route. But I really wanted to, well,
I think that there's something to be said of the level of your own authenticity and the fact that you have consistently and will consistently remain true to who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that no matter where you go, you will never not honor where you came from.
Yeah.
And that resonates in all of your work.
Yeah,
I think that's a theme that intertwines in everything that you do with your purpose and with your passion.
And I appreciate you saying that, and you see that. But let me tell you that this route is harder because, especially when you have some success, people want you to write certain things or you pitch to people, and it's great. But the story you really want to tell, like you have to be so true to yourself. And even Generation Porque, there's some people. The reason I produced it and filmed it myself is there were definitely production companies or people that wanted me to change the characters, or they would say, oh, Cuban families don't talk this way. And I was very stubborn. I'm like, no, I'm telling the story this way. And everyone thought it was crazy that I was going to film Generation Porque, which was like a 30-minute pilot on this budget. Everyone was like, you're nuts. Even the producer, Dana Zoli, who's amazing, she looked at the budget. She's like, I don't think we can feed people with this. I'm like, no. I'm like, everyone loves Panera, okay? soup.
$5 footlongs.
I swear to God. And
Oh, that's
everyone,
incredible.
I'll never forget. And Andrea Burns, who's this amazing Broadway actress, she played the mom. All these people, they were like, what are you, literally, they were like, we're excited.
But
What is happening? And I'm like, trust me. And I'm so glad I took that leap. Because in the end, you know, it's opened up all the doors for me. And really just, I did that. And I'm like, okay, I did this. I can do anything.
So I think that,
thing.
you know, I think you deem yourself as stubborn, and you are indeed a Taurus. So I know that you're quite stubborn. And I, as the Pisces fish, just swim along while everyone else around me, you know, is this big, bold energy. But I think it's more tenacious than anything else. I don't know if you're stubborn or just you've got the tenacity to know, this is the vision that I have, and I know I'll bring it to life. Don't worry about the minor details.
Yeah. And leaping before you're ready. I was so not prepared, but I was like, this is crazy, but this feels so right. And like a lot of times you have to leap. Just like you starting this podcast, 100%. Anything, we all have to, like, no one knows what they're doing or what the outcome will be.
100%.
And all you can do is just really believe in yourself and show up in integrity and surround yourself with amazing people that nurture that dream, that love you. Like, you're one of those people, you know, that just support you professionally. That's like, girl, I don't know what you're doing, but like, you can do it. Like, always. I'm here for you, you know, because most people too. That's why I always come from the place of yes. Anytime someone tells me their dream or like, should I do this? I always ask them, I'm like, are you asking me or do you want me to just be quiet? It's a rhetorical question.
Yep.
You know, it's like, should I travel to this place? I'm like, do you want me to say yes or no? Or you just want me to
advice
listen?
Or do you want to share?
Yes, exactly. Like, what do you, but most of the time people want that permission, like, to do this, and no one's going to give it to you. And even in the industry, people that are, you know, famous or whatever, they still have a hard time. You know, no one's kind of knocking on your door, very rarely.
So given your prior experience and given how much you've been able to sort of make a mountain out of a molehill, you knew that it was your drive and your creative process that was going to get you there in spite of the odds. Yeah. And I mean, something like HBO Max is truly a pinnacle. Oh, yeah. Most people will never even see, let's be honest, I have people all the time who say to me, someday I want to write a book. And they'll say those words, but they will never, ever put a sentence down on paper.
Yeah.
And sometimes the biggest critics in life are the ones who will never actually put themselves out there and do something.
Yeah.
So now that you've gotten to this place, what is a new project that you're working on? What are you doing now? I know that you've always got your hands in so many different pots creatively. Is there something that you're working on that drives you now?
Yes, I'm always so, and this is for any writers, especially like screenwriters, TV writers, or creators. You always have to constantly be doing like 3 different things. But one project I'm very excited is I wrote a pilot for a TV show. It's called Huevos.
for those of you who are not fluent in Espanol.
Huevos is slang for testicles, aka balls, in Spanish.
The literal word is eggs.
It's eggs in Spanish, yes. And it's like a mockumentary style. It's Shit Creek meets The Office, and it's about incredible. This Mexican billionaire during a TED Talk, while he's launching his new products for Me Gusta Enterprises, which means I like it in Spanish. His private rocket crashes on live TV, and he gets canceled and loses everything, and has to move his like super spoiled wife and niece to an egg farm in Iowa that his late father bequeathed to him, because he also came from Mexico and had like egg farming roots. So I'm working on that. That's been great. And also a lot of different film ideas and stuff and pitches that like I can't talk about here. And also I want to do another sketch show, like a live show.
So just for a frame of reference, if you guys don't know how invested Jackie is in her craft.
What? Yes, my craft.
Jackie, tell us about your experience at the chicken farm.
Oh, well. Oh, yeah, I went to... Again, no one asked me to go.
Nobody asked her.
No one asked me to go to a chicken farm. Also, shout out to my friend Christy, who lives in Boston. I sent her a text. I was like, hey, girl, real quick, I'm going to be in Boston visiting a chicken farm that's half hour from you. Can I stay with you? And she's like, hey, love you. You can always stay here. We have a lot to talk about. So, yeah, I went to a chicken farm. For 3 hours, and I like hung out with the hens. There's over like 1,000 hens.
That's not slang.
Yeah,
literally the hens.
The hens, yeah, and the chickens, and it was fascinating. And learning about, like the chickens and the farm, and there's a lot of different causes of death for hens on a farm, and like the second one is getting pecked out, which means the other chicken kills you. Like they peck each other a lot.
Yeah, it sounds
they like kill each other and it happened while I was there.
Sounds like the dark underbelly of whatever's going on in Huevos.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's a lot to unpack here.
A bunch of hens coming around. But no, it's crazy. And I really love metaphors. Like I love human nature and also animals you can't control.
Sure.
Right. So
there's something so primitive about that. And the fact that you would go to these lengths to sharpen your own creative process and to put in the work and the research.
Yeah.
There's nobody out there telling you to go do this.
No.
This is all you doing this.
Yeah. But I have to be prepared. It's almost like it's kind of going, it's like going to like school for a day and getting ready, to write. And also, especially since I wanted it to be pretty accurate, and also like being in that environment, like I'll never forget, like being scared to get pecked to death. They all just like come on you. Or the face of the hen laying an egg. I was like, oh my God. I was like, is she? They're like, oh yeah, they lay them, once a day. And the woman's real calm. Everything's pecking her. And
for those of you not watching this on YouTube, I think it warrants watching for Jackie's facial expressions alone.
For my egg.
It might be worth for a hen laying an egg for you to be able to witness that in real time.
Yeah. And there's also, I just want to share this fun fact. So they sell...
Please proceed.
They sell vests for hens because they get raped a lot.
Oh, no.
By the roosters. So there's hen rape. So they have vests so like the claws like don't dig into their skin from the roosters.
Holy moly.
Oh, yeah. And the pecking order. That's what they say high school is.
There's a literal pecking order.
There's a pecking order. So if you introduce an old flock of hens to a new flock of hens, the old flock will peck the new hens to death. You have to be very careful. So every time you go to a farm, there's always like two flocks separated. Oh, that's
wild.
Yes, but it's the same thing in high school. It's the same thing how like humans, we always have like that natural hierarchy. Hens do that constantly.
When you think about the fact that it all boils down to how the human condition is mimicking nature.
Yes, all the time.
It's like you're a comedian, but you're also a sociologist.
A little bit. I'm not a doctor. Like Dr. Sonja.
Listen,
I'm a doctor in human behavior. Are there hierarchies in hospitals, Sonja?
I mean, listen, we're not. That's an entirely different episode for a different day. But the hen pecking order in nursing is one that it's so bad that I've written books about it.
Yeah.
So without question, we as humans have to sort of assert ourselves to show our dominance or to showcase our position in that reality. And for you, it was in a literal chicken farm. Yeah. And first of all, I want to commend your bravery because I don't think I could have gone out there.
Girl, it was, and they're really loud. So people that haven't been on a farm, they just kind of, they make noise all day. They just, like all day. I was shocked. And then they have dogs that like keep them in line and, they're very sensitive to their environment. So if a chicken's not eating, they look at the environment. They don't blame the chicken, which I also love about humans.
Right,
like if someone's being a dumbass,
look
at their environment.
Right. So I think that
it's not them, but again, it just like it mimics human nature so much.
I think what we'll name this episode is probably going to be Conversations on Cocks.
Conversation, yes.
Because I think we've learned so much more than we thought we would about hens and chickens in this episode, and I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I think
and then they can't keep the male roosters because they will rape all them.
It's just lawless. Pregnant. It's lawless.
Yeah. So it's like
my mind is blown. My mind is blown first and foremost, but more importantly, this is you. This is who you are.
Yeah.
Jackie will send me a text message, and it will literally be like the most absurd. Like, what is the text? What did you text me just downstairs in the elevator? When you were walking into the building?
I don't know why I was waiting. And again, since we're recording in a studio, this is also a music studio for some people. Mm-hmm. And some guy asked me outside if I was a rapper. And I was like, no. But are you? He's like, yeah.
But I'm interested. But I'm invested now. Tell me more.
I'm invested now. And he had like a necklace on that said like skills with a Z. And I was like, okay. So I mean, I'm a rapper.
It's time to everybody Pickup skills latest record, number one. Number two, your stories are inherently hilarious.
Yeah, I'm
Even
Larry
your
David.
every day.
I'm the Cuban Larry David. When people, so especially for people that don't know the process, when you go in like meetings with production companies and managers, producers, whatever, there's something called an elevator pitch. So it's like a little like one sentence bio about you that people can know your comedy brand.
Okay.
I always tell people I'm the Cuban Larry David.
Oh yeah, that's
all the time, because I just get into these situations, and then people always just like talk to me. I'm very much of a blank slate, a very friendly face, so people just always say things to me. And I don't know if he was trying to talk to me or he really thought like I was a rapper.
He was intrigued, yeah. And I mean, I think it can go both ways. I do think it can go both ways.
DJ Little Sitter.
So what would your rap name be? That's what I mean. That's really what we have to like think about now. These are the questions we may need to circle back with.
We should have like a pop quiz. You should have like a pop quiz for us. Like, what's your rapper name?
I will. I mean,
I know my porn name. What is the porn name? It's like.
So what is it? Is it the first pet and the street you lived on?
Yeah.
So what would your porn star name be? The name of your first pet if you had a pet.
Wait, and okay, so my first pet was Star.
Okay, so amazing. We're off to a great start.
Abishan.
We're off to a great start.
So it's either the street I lived on until I was 6 years old or after. So it's either Star Cleveland or Star Mickey.
I mean, either
one. I'm generating a lot of moolah.
Either way. So I would be Duchess Trimble. I think that's like a really high-end porn name. I think it's like really like, look at you with your classy self. I think it's very regal.
Duchess Trimble is the new season of Bridgerton. Duchess Trimble. She's a nurse with red glasses. That's how I can't do a normal English accent at this tone. It's got to be like this, like Oliver Twist.
And just so we know, these mics were preset.
I'm so sorry.
So now this is going to be incredible. My editing team's going to be like, hi, ma'am, we really want to keep the part where Jacqueline Pereda is doing a British accent, but we're not sure that the human voice, the human ears can tolerate that octave. What do we do? And I'm going to say, we're going to figure it out. We persist.
The chick that said that she's like Larry David and saw cocks on an egg farm, and her English accent, that's going to be it.
I mean, I think this is going to be the moment that the entire world is going to say, where has this woman been all of our lives?
I hope so.
I think so.
I hope this breaks the internet.
I think it will.
Everyone's like, who's the one in the blue silky pajamas? With her doctor friend. Why is she on a farm?
What is going on? See, and this is what I love about us being here. This is our normal conversations on a day-to-day life.
And this is tame.
This is tame.
We're being tame, guys.
We are behaving.
Yes, we're behaving.
Once again, the Sleeping with Sonja podcast is because I give anesthesia. However, if you want to be baited and switched into thinking otherwise so that you can be inspired, we're here for it.
And also, we should have pillows. I was like, if we dress like this, we should have had like a pillow fight.
so that now this is going to progress into a pillow fight.
Next episode, pillow fight.
Again, there's always season 2. We can circle back. There can be an entirely different set, and we can have an entirely different demographic. And I think that's what we're here for. We're here to touch lives, Jack.
Star Cleveland.
Star Cleveland.
Star Mickey.
Star.
What's yours? Duchess
Cleveland.
Trimble?
Duchess Trimble, baby.
Duchess Trimble.
Duchess Trimble.
I'm done.
I think there's a formula for your stripper name also, and I want to say...
Oh, it's the Sephora one, right? It's like the last... Something Sephora, like the last thing you bought at Sephora.
Right. Like the name of the brand or whatever.
The name of the brand of Sephora and the product.
And is it like the last thing you ate? I don't know. What would yours be? I mean, I think
bronze huevos. I ate eggs right before bronze huevos.
So the eggs are on brand for your stripper name. Coming to the main stage.
The eggs are caramel.
We've got bronze huevos. I think the last thing I bought at Sephora was it was Charlotte Tilbury. So I don't know. I mean, Charlotte's just like charming in general. Once again, I'm really sticking with the whole like very regal.
It suits you.
Yeah, I mean, look at me.
You see the blonde hair.
Pure class. And then what did I eat? French fries. The last thing I ate.
Charlotte French fries.
So it would have to be like Charlotte Frenchie or something, because French fries.
Charlotte Frenchie is very good.
Yeah. So I don't know. That would probably be what would be your, all right, you have one opportunity.
Oh, God.
You're a stripper, but you're a stripper with a heart of gold. Okay? You don't have to be like a stripper stripping down. You could actually just have clothing on and we're just going to, you could just be a stripper who's like, I'm going to leave my clothing on, but I think this is going to really inspire you when I dance. What would be your stripper song?
Oh, something by Beyonce, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, hers kill it.
What's really funny is one time I was like, when I first started auditioning, I texted a friend. I was like, I just want to dance to Beyonce all day and get paid. And without a beat, she goes, so be a stripper. I was like, oh my God.
I have a solution.
I was like, touche.
I have a solution.
Like, that is how you live. If you're not Beyonce and want to sing or dance to Beyonce,
yeah, I mean, she's got a bunch of stripper bangers, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Most of her songs.
Oh, Ego.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's a great one.
I think she did.
She
did like a chair dance, lap dance
chair
thing.
Dance. I hate how much I love Pony. I hate myself.
My God, no, why?
Because it's just like it comes on and I'm like overcome. It's like I we're in the operating room and there'll be music playing and then suddenly Candy Shop comes on by Fitty. And I've got a pole next to me and then I'm conflicted. So I think that I have an inner spirit.
Oh, you absolutely do.
But yeah,
do they know that you guys play music all the time?
So,
I laugh in the operating room. Like, I had no idea. I went for a procedure last year and they were playing a bunch of bangers too. I was like, oh my God, this is what Sonja does all day.
So, in many operating rooms around the country, and I won't speak to my own, but I know that there are multiple who do permit music. And of course, once it's safe and timeout is achieved and everything else I'm supposed to say that's legally binding, blah. We do listen to music. And oftentimes we will actually ask patients when they come in the room what they prefer.
Oh, that's nice.
And I've had pediatric patients, kids that I've had anesthesia for, and I will ask them, who are you into these days? And, they'll be teenagers and they'll say some name that I don't have a fucking clue in the universe. And I'm like, type it in my Spotify because I don't know who that is.
Child, who is this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still here playing, Usher from 2006 and living my best life. So, yes, we do often listen to music in the operating room.
That's nice.
And I believe that music in the operating room is a lot like pizza and sex. Even bad pizza or bad sex is better than no pizza or no sex.
I mean...
And if there's no music in the operating room, it makes for a really long day.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. Your days are insane.
They're insane. So anytime we do have music, especially one of these days recently, I had a moment where just like the dichotomy made me laugh. It was like, you're just really you're hyper-focused and they're making this incision and there's a really stressful situation happening. And then it was like, it's kind of a vibe in here. Like that did you hear the beat drop?
He's gonna make it, but did you hear the beat drop? Stop.
The beat drop was really impressive. And I'm like, man, people have no idea. So you're actually one of the few people who are in my inner circle who's not in healthcare.
Yeah. Oh my God, I know.
Yeah. And
guys, all her friends are my friends too.
They are actually. She's been adopted. She's made herself so sticky and infiltrated herself.
I've infiltrated.
I allowed it. She's amazing.
I've infiltrated the medical community.
She has.
I'm an interloper.
She's definitely interloped.
Larry David interloped.
I think I remember during the height of COVID, I think I got text messages from you 417,000 times a day.
Yeah.
Just about the late, and you're like, hey, I think I coughed. Am I going to die? And I'm like, no, you're doing great, sweetheart. You're doing amazing.
We got super close during COVID. Mm-hmm. And we've always been close, but you're going through some personal stuff. And just that time, I think we just kind of hunkered down.
I mean, you and a Zoom box coexisted.
Yeah, and
throughout.
FaceTime.
We FaceTimed a ton. And
we
were always very good friends. And we met in our Shakespeare class.
I know. We're
we're kind of nerds.
Kind of nerds.
We met in our Shakespeare class. And really during the pandemic, it's when I went through some of the most challenging personal matters of my life. I always knew that you were there for me as a person and as a friend, but you elevated yourself in terms of ensuring that I was okay because I was never the person to share that I wasn't.
Yeah.
So if I was not okay, the people around me were very concerned because I always, quote unquote, had my shit together.
Yeah. And you're always the strong one.
And
I know for everyone.
I know you know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And you are one of the prime examples in my life I think I've told you this during COVID, and I'll tell you this again because I think it resonates with so many people and with me especially. What I do every day as a nurse and in healthcare is important.
Yeah.
You help people. Sometimes you save lives. You hopefully improve their outcomes. You do what you can. But what you do is equally as powerful and equally as important. Because what's the point of living in this life if you don't have joy and laughter and art and beauty and creation?
Yeah. And every time you remind me of that, it's so powerful because I get so caught up and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're actually making a difference. Like, you're literally saving lives. I'm like, I'm writing another balls joke. Like, why? This isn't.
And again, every testicle joke you make elevates us every single
Elevates
day.
humanity.
you are lifting humanity one ball joke at a time.
Yeah. No, and I'm like, yeah, Sonja, thank you.
Actually,
I'm like,
actually,
yeah, actually, wow. How deep. No, but she's so
balls deep.
Balls
Balls deep in this conversation.
But no, you always reminded me of that. I remember one time you had a really hard shift and you're like, I just came home, I'm watching Modern Family. And she's like, never forget how important it is what you do. And it's so true. And I have to remind that's a reminder for myself and other people. Because it is food for the soul. Like when I'm having a really shitty fucking day, all I want to do is watch The Office or my comfort, like any film I love, a rom-com, like that's what you want. Or like I watch like a Netflix special or something like, and that brings me joy.
I think there really is there's power and there's connection in creation. Yeah. Because you have done it in a way where you can take topics that are probably challenging to discuss, topics that can feel very serious and very heavy and very stressful. And you can transmute them into something that's palatable.
Yeah.
And resonates with people.
And that's the power of comedy. And I forget, comedians or just comedic writers like have that gift and we break it down to people. And we kind of like speak the truth. Who was it? I think it was Patrice O'Neill. He's one of my favorite stand-up comedians. I don't know if it was him or George Carlin. It's like comedians are the modern day philosophers. We kind of like say the truth out loud. And it's funny, like people like Jon Stewart, he's more trusted. I mean, especially back then he was. Right. He's more trusted than like any sort of media institution or politicians because he speaks the truth and he makes fun of everyone. Right. But that comes at a cost because people don't like the truth or holding truth to power. Right. So yeah, I've always just been so. Remember, when I was at Rutgers, I majored in journalism. I majored in TV. I was like, my parents, if I major in TV, you know.
Right.
But I always loved the truth, like in pursuit of the truth, and nothing does that better than writing, and especially for me anyway, comedy writing, and holding up the mirror to nature and being like, guys, we're not as important as we think. Like everyone, like let's calm the F down.
I think there's something that's so powerful about doing what you do and stripping away the sense of ego. Yeah. And saying, whatever it is that you're hyper-focused on right now, whatever it is that you think is a problem right now, that you think you are exclusively the only one to endure this, you're not.
Yeah.
We're all human. We're all coexisting together in this. And what you produce and create has such meaning because we can look at it and say, we are all laughing at something that we maybe don't understand, but now I want to learn more about this topic. Yeah. I want to explore more about this idea. And you have a funny way of teaching people in your own right through laughter and through comedy.
Thank you, honey. Stop it. I'm a teacher too.
I mean,
add that to the bio.
We're going to add to the bio next time you are. You
I appreciate that.
You make us feel good and you turn things that can feel really challenging into something that has such light. Yeah. And as somebody who, I struggle with the balance between being a steward for health and healthcare, and also creating and growing and making my impact on that side, and understanding that you don't necessarily have to make a choice, but you can combine the two and hopefully have a really beautiful outcome. It's the people like you in my life who encourage that, and I think that's really incredible.
To not take yourself as serious.
For sure. Because at the end of the day, like most things in life aren't actually an emergency.
No, not at all.
So
like not at all. And we're all going through it. Like suffering is universal and we all have something. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. Like everyone has something. And to think if you have like money or you come from somewhere that you're like immune to that. So that's why I'm always like fascinated by that too. Like people, especially in Huevos, how like this guy has all this money, he loses everything, and he gets like canceled immediately by everything, and he's not immune to tragedy.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I love like that ego. Like I love popping. You're right. I love like popping people's ego.
I think it's a matter of you create the great equalizer.
Yes.
And you level the playing field. And you do that through comedy. Yeah. And to me, that's genius and that's magic. So we're going to make sure that we have all of your information in the show notes where they can follow you. Let us know if there's any project that you're working on that we can help support you through. We will make sure everybody knows about it, hears about it, reads about it. We will hoe you out.
Oh my God, please hoe me out with my pajamas
respectfully, hoe her out. With consent, hoe you out. Okay, in the best way possible because you deserve it, you earned it, and you're just a force of nature.
Oh, honey. And you're a force of nature, too. You inspire me all the time. I'm like, Sonja's doing it. I got to do it, too. We got to keep in this together.
Yeah, it's just really powerful. And this sort of sisterhood and bond is really what women supporting women is all about.
Yeah.
So thank you. Forward. I love you.
I love you, too, honey.
And thank you all for tuning in once again to the Sleeping with Sonja podcast. We look forward to sharing more about the incredible Jacqueline Pereda. Make sure you tune in on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all places podcasts are found.